Hello and welcome to Games on the Lawn, and today we're in Heroes of the Storm 2.0. We're on the PTR currently, trying to check out Stukov, and I'm one of those weird players that loves support, and when I found out Stukov was support and saw his kit, I was so damn excited, and so I've jumped on the PTR, I've downloaded it all, I've played my 3 games so that I can unlock Stukov. And the wait time, as you can see, over 2,000 seconds. So instead of just sitting around waiting for 30 minutes, I thought I'd do a quick video and just have a look at his kit and see what we can look forward to having probably next week. So what's that say about the 11th of July? We were mentioning Stukov will go live then, so let's have a quick look at Stukov's abilities. On his Q, the healing pathogen. Only on a 10-second cooldown, you can infest an allied hero with a healing pathogen that heals the target for 240 health, which is pretty decent, over 4.5 seconds. Healing pathogens can spread to a nearby allied hero every 0.75 seconds. And a single healing pathogen can spread to each allied hero one time. So you just put this on one person and you just have to be nearby and you just watch it spread and heal. And I mean, 240 health, if that goes through your whole team, you're looking like what, 1,200 healing? Like that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Awaited pustule. Hurl a pustule that impacts all enemy heroes in its path, dealing 20 damage, slowing by 5%, increasing to 50% over 3 seconds. So the initial slow, not a big deal, but by the end of 3 seconds is a super strong slow. And it deals an additional 80 damage upon expiring or being removed. And of course you can remove the weighted pustule and your healing pathogen by using Bio kill switch, which will skip through to that trait, because you can activate to detonate all of Stukov's viruses, so his healing pathogen and the weighted pustule. And each healing pathogen heals its target for 500 health, so a big burst heal, and each weighted pustule deals 100 damage and slows its target by 70% for 2 seconds. That is a huge slow. That's got huge playmaking abilities. Right there. So you can imagine if you're going to do close to 1200 healing, that's just at level 1 with healing pathogen. But then if you activate Biokill switch on 5 targets at once, that's an extra 2,500 burst healing you're going to do across your team. It's pretty awesome. So anyway, back to the ease. Lurking arm, channel at a target location, creating an area that silences enemies inside and deals 144 damage per second to them. That's not too bad. Deals 50% reduced damage to non-heroes, so they obviously put that in so you can't just clear minion waves in like 2 seconds. And the interesting part of this too is that it does not cost mana while channeling. It lasts until cancelled or interrupted, so once you put it down, it's just that initial 60 mana up front, and then you can just channel away forever if the enemy's dumb enough to just stand in your silence. Anyway, so he's got a pretty interesting base kit. Really looking forward to getting into it. And then we have his heroics. Flailing swipe. Swipes 3 times in front of Stukov over 1.75 seconds, dealing 50 damage to enemies hit and knocking them away. Each swipe is larger than the previous, so the little one, first one kind of, you know, it's a fairly short to medium range, but then it gets bigger the second time and even bigger the third time. Really good area denial. You could do boss steals with this quite easily, like if you just got in position and just went whack 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 and you just knock them far away, their whole team just gets knocked away from the boss, you'd steal it easily. What else? Okay, then there's massive shove. This I think is going to be everybody's go-to initially because it looks like such a fun heroic, and it only has a 20-second cooldown. You extend Stukov's arm, and if it hits an enemy hero, and like I think its range initially is about maybe the same, pretty close to like Li Ming's orb. It's got a fair decent range, and if it hits an enemy hero, their rapidly shoved until they collide with terrain, and if that is all the way across the other side of the map, that's what'll happen. And then they'll take 200 damage. But the big part is that you're just removing one hero from the fight, and you just create an instant 5v4 and gain your team an advantage. So huge playmaking ability, and it's every 20 seconds. Stukov gains 50 armor while he's doing that. So that's gonna be pretty OP. Stukov's kit looks amazing, and it's probably gonna be super strong, and 2 weeks later he's gonna cop the nerf stick for sure, no doubt. So moving on to his talents, at level 1 we got Spine Launcher. Basic attacks become ranged and slow enemies by 20% for 1 second, but deal 50% less damage. Stukov's basic attack is huge. Like, he hits like a truck, but he also hits super slow. So the trade-off here is make those basic attacks ranged, but they'll only do 50%. They'll only do 50% damage. But they also gain that slow. You can slow enemies by 20% for a second with every basic attack, but I think he only does like one basic attack like every 2 seconds. So whether that's worth it or not, we'll see. Fettered Touch. Quest, hit heroes with weighted pustule. That's his pustule? I thought it was pustule. It's pustule. We got a typo there, Blizz. Hit heroes with weighted pustule. Reward after hitting 20 heroes, reduce the cooldown of weighted pustule by 2.5 seconds, and after hitting 40 heroes, reduce it by a further 2.5 seconds, and remove its mana cost, so you can just spam it on cooldown. Lurking Arm is to go. Sorry, Growing Infestation. Lurking Arm's area expands by 50% over 2.5 seconds. I've seen this in action, and I'm not sure how good this talent actually is, because it takes 2.5 seconds where you're just standing there channeling it and being vulnerable, and the 50% growth, I don't feel like it makes it that bigger. But I'm sure that there's going to be some Lurking Arm builds that will make use of this. This is, I think, will be my go-to at level 1, Popping Pustules. Detonate 10 weighted pustules without dying. The reward, detonating a weighted pustule, now applies its damage and slow in an area. So if you only hit one hero with that weighted pustule, detonating it's going to apply that damage and the slow in an area, so you could end up, just slowing the entire team just by getting one weighted pustule on an enemy. Moving to level 4, we got One Good Spread. After healing pathogen infest 4 targets, restore 30 mana, reduce the cooldown of healing pathogen by 2 seconds. So it's going to reduce the healing pathogen cooldown from 10 to 8 seconds, which isn't a huge deal, but it's going to refund the entire mana cost of healing pathogen. So that could help if you've got mana problems. So top off, healing pathogens heal over time on its initial target is increased by 50% while they are above 60% health. So this seems fairly strong early on in a fight, but I mean, how quickly is that first target going to fall below 60% health? And where you really want the extra heals on someone who's below 60% health. So it'll be interesting to see how that can be used. Biotic Armor, healing pathogen grants 50 physical armor to its initial target while active on them. So only on the initial target, so you could cast it on your tank if they've got a lot of AA. That could really make an Uberak quite powerful, because he's already got that spell armor, he's quite strong against ability damage. Has so his only real weakness is physical damage, so if you put your healing pathogen on an Uberak to start, 50 physical armor makes it quite strong, and that's for 4.5 seconds. So that looks pretty good. This one too, pretty cool. Vigorous reuptake. Quest, detonate 50 healing pathogens with bio kill switch. The reward, increase bio kill switch's healing by 50%. Remember, we're talking about doing 2,500 burst heals at level 1 with that ability if your whole team has the healing pathogen on them. Increase that by 50%, you're looking at, what, 3,750 burst healing across your team. Wow, that's pretty strong. Level 7, the long pitch increases the range of weighted pustule by 100%, so you can, maybe hit through to their backline, get that weighted pustule on their backline as well, so that they can apply that slow, so that you can move through to reach their backline. Has some playmaking ability or potential there. Within my reach, increase the range of lurking arm by 50%, which this could make you a lot safer when casting that lurking arm, so be quite good for an E-build. It hungers each time an enemy hero is hit by lurking arm, reduce its cooldown by half a second up to 6.5 seconds, and restore 5 mana. So that could help you spam the E a bit, but I mean, you've got to have heroes sitting in the lurking arm getting hit by a second to make it worthwhile. People are going to dodge that pretty quickly. And we have on our D targeted excision detonating exactly one weighted pustule by any number of healing pathogens. With Biokill Switch, reduces the cooldown of Biokill Switch to 5 seconds. It's normally 15, so this allows for quite a lot of burst healing. You imagine if you've got healing pathogens all around your team, you detonate exactly one weighted pustule. With Biokill Switch, you're bursting for at least 2,500 heals. If you talent it into, what was it again? Which one was it? This is it here. If you talent into Vigorous Reuptake and got 50%, you're looking at 3,750 burst healing across your team. But then, it resets Biokill Switch to 5 seconds. So if you put down another healing pathogen and hit it again, we're talking about another, close to 4,000 heals burst across your team. So you're looking at 8,000 burst heals over like 5 seconds apart. That's ridiculous. And we've talked about his heroics at level 13. Reactive Ballista Spores, when taking damage below 50% health, instantly spread a weighted pustule to all nearby enemy heroes and reset the cooldown of Biokill Switch. This effect has a 10-second cooldown. So you can imagine you're getting chased, you drop below 50%, instantly weighted pustules go to all your enemy heroes, resets the cooldown of Biokill Switch, you can hit that. You probably hit yourself with a healing pathogen, you've got burst heals, you've damaged your enemy chasing you, but you've put a massive slow on them and allowed yourself to escape. So pretty usual, level 13, it's a defensive talent there. We got low below. Lurking arm deals 150% more damage to enemy heroes below 25% health. How interesting to have a finishing talent, a finisher, on a support. That's different. Good on you, Blizz. Interesting to see if anyone actually takes that though. And also, we got two other abilities on our E. It's 13. Lingering Spines. Lurking arm persist for 1.5 seconds after it is cancelled. So you can throw it down and not stay there and channel, and you're still going to have that silence and damage going off for another 1.5 seconds while you get yourself in a more safe position. Virulent? I think virulent or virulent. I'm going to have to look that up. Virulent reaction, detonating a weighted pustule on an enemy who is inside of lurking arm, roots them for 2 seconds. This seems a lot for a 2-second root. You have to have someone inside your lurking arm at the same time you've already got a weighted pustule on them, and detonate that while they're inside the lurking arm, and then it roots them for 2 seconds, meaning that they're silenced for another 2 seconds because they're inside the lurking arm, and so they're silenced and they're rooted and they're probably dead. So I mean, it's strong, but it's fairly circumstantial. There's a lot to make that happen, but is the playmaking potential once more we're seeing a lot of with Stukov. At 16, Super Strain. Healing Pathogen heals when stunned. Whenever an ally with Healing Pathogen is stunned, instantly healed for 250 health. This is pretty good. If you're in a stun lock meta, which you're going to see a lot of, especially in Hero League, people are going to go for that CC. They stun. Damn it. They stun your guy with healing pathogen, instant heal for 250 health. That's going to help them survive, especially if they're going to get stun tree. You know, imagine if it's, you know, Uther stun, Jahaka drag, Chaos follows up with a what's that thing called? The twisting nether, and meanwhile they've just healed your ally for like 750 health, helping him survive the burst that's following. Pretty good. Universal Carrier, healing pathogen can continually spread through Stukov, but its healing is reduced by 60%. So that 60% is quite a huge nerf to that healing. But you gotta think that as long as you're hanging out with your team, they all get that heal, and then it spreads back through you, and then by the time yours is finished, theirs is finished, and it spreads back to them again. And so on and so forth. And so it'll continually spread back to you from your allies and then back to everyone else. So you basically have a perpetual heal, which is pretty amazing. So I think 60% nerf to the healing as a result is pretty fair. We also have Pox Populi. Bio Kill Switch no longer removes healing pathogen and instead refreshes its cooldown. That's pretty cool. You're going to have that burst healing, but you're not going to have to put another healing pathogen out because instead it's going to refresh it. So, I mean, well, if this is well timed, you can get that heal back up on most of your team, and it's going to burst heal and start the heal over time again, and by the time that runs out, you can start the process again and put out another healing pathogen. So that looks quite strong too. Iron Infection increased the final damage of weighted pustule by 50%. Additionally, detonating a weighted pustule with Bio Kill Switch blinds the target for 3 seconds. So, I mean, more playmaking potential. I mean, if you talented into it right, you could throw down a lurking arm, silence them, have a weighted pustule on them that you've detonated, which has now hit them for 50% more damage. But if you've spec'd into it already, that's going to root them in the silence, and now you could also blind them by detonating that weighted pustule with Bio Kill Switch. So they're now silenced, rooted for 2 seconds, and blinded for 3 seconds, which pretty much equates to a dead hero. Level 20, the upgrades to Flailing Swipe controlled Chaos. Flailing Swipe's mana cost was reduced from 100 to 50, and it gains 2 additional charges, but each use only swings 1 time at maximum range, which I think will make it a whole lot more useful because you can actually spread those charges apart and really create some area denial through that. So I think it'll make it much more useful. Push comes to shove, the upgrade to Massive Shove. Massive Shove travels 25% faster. If Massive Shove pushes a target for more than 1.5 seconds, its cooldown is reduced by 15 seconds. The initial cooldown for this ability is only 20 seconds. That means if you can get them to push them more than 1.5 seconds, you can do it again 5 seconds later. That is a game-winning ability right there. However, Massive Shove now travels 25% faster. It already moves quite quick. So to move it even faster and then have to try and push someone for at least 1.5 seconds might be harder than it appears. Time will tell. We also have Bio Explosion Switch, where Bio Kill Switch now also detonates Lurking Arm, applying a weighted pustule to enemy heroes inside and silencing them for 2 seconds. So if they walk outside of it, they're still going to be silenced for 2 seconds. And of course, that has potential too, with teching into those talents with Lurking Arm of applying the root, because it's going to instantly apply a weighted pustule to them. So yeah, there's lots of avenues for Stukov, lots of synergy, a really powerful kit, a lot of playmaking potential. So hopefully we'll get a game soon and be able to record that and see him in action. Until then, that's a little teaser. Enjoy it, love it, and what is it, like on the 11th? So less than a week is going to be hitting the live servers, and we're all going to get to enjoy Stukov. So happy Stukov, everybody, and until we see you next time, video game responsibly, and we'll see you then. Bye!